Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be reviewing these two sneaky duos from the film Pinocchio. Uh, Not a lot of you know about these characters, I suppose, if you're not a huge fan of Pinocchio or haven't watched it for a while. But the one on the left right there, the fox, is called Honest John. But in the sculpture, he's actually named J. Worthington Foulfellow, which is a very aristocratic British sort of name, even though that kind of contrasts his overall demeanor. And of course, on the right here, we have Gideon, his little sidekick there, who is, just happens to be one of the few mute characters in the Disney canon. The first one, of course, is Dopey. Now, Gideon was supposed to have a voice actor voicing him, and I believe his voice actor is Mel Brooks, which is the famous voice actor who lent his voice to many iconic Warner Brothers cartoons. I believe it was the Looney Tunes, such as the Bugs Bunny, I believe, and Daffy Ducks, maybe. But at the last minute, Walt Disney decided that Gideon should be left mute to kind of add a more comedic quality to his character. But I really love these two figurines. I recently just got them, and even though they're part of a Disney duo in the WDCC, they're meant to be sold separately. Even though you're supposed to have them both together. Now the reason for this was that the artist believed that if you sell them together, the prices will be just too expensive that collectors might balk at the pricing, so they decided to split them up so that they wouldn't have to kind of like cut corners or keep the budget down, and collectors can just choose really to buy only one of them. Although in my opinion, you really need to have both because they work really well together as a duo. Their poses are very well integrated together. As you can see, the two just kind of has a pose that's sort of sneakily peering over Pinocchio as they attempt to steer him into the wrong path. So let's get started with Honest John right here. So this is one of my favorite figures when it arrived, mainly because of I was surprised by how big he is in real life. The photos and even my video couldn't really do this amazing character justice. And of course, his colors, the reds and the blues, and mainly the greens, are so well coordinated together. And even his the design of the pose that they chose, it's very debonair, sort of a con artist type of look. And then you have his other hand sort of like on his chin, sort of like sneakily contemplating how to trick Pinocchio into a life as an actor. And of course, even the details is stunning. You can see the little his finger right there, sort of like peering over his glove, to kind of show you that he acts like an aristocrat, but his of course his actual appearance is all but aristocratic. You can see the little patches there on one of his sleeves, and of course on the bottom here on the pants, you can see another patch right there, just to kind of show you his decay on the clothing. And of course, the expressional as well is wonderful. It totally encapsulates who Honest John is in the movie. He's a really, well, forgive the stereotype, but he's a really sneaky fox. And of course, years later in Zootopia, Nick Wilde decides to remedy this by being the hero of the story. But of course, this was 1940, and all they had back then was to rely on the stereotypes. And back then, probably Aesop's Fables was actually one of the more famous stories. So, of course, as you know, in Aesop's Fables, the fox is usually depicted as a cunning, sneaky character. But yeah, overall, this is a very excellent pose. Even the way the WDCC produced this figure, I couldn't show you here in the video, but that cape does not even touch the ground once in any of the cape, even though it's so low to the ground. but the way they really want to make sure that this character doesn't seem stitched to the ground like so many sculptures these days probably would have mold the cape together. But yeah, you can see the little gap there. None of the cape is actually bolted to the ground, so you can see his feet is the only two things that's bolted. It kind of gives the sculpture more life to it, because it feels that you don't feel like this is a sculpture. You feel like this is an actual character from the movie, frozen in 3D sculpture, and just kind of stay put, and just kind of frozen mid posing, you know. So that's why I just love the way WDCC portrays the characters. They don't compromise, you know, for well, to be honest, for safety, you know, not having the cape bolted to the ground might have, you know, caused some breakage or something like that. But you know, in the end, it's all to service the characters. And I also love the way his cane just sort of bolted on his one of his arms right there. It's very, very nice. And the cane, of course, is made of metal to prevent any breakage. So let's move on to last but not least, we have Gideon. So of course, Gideon is the trusty sidekick to Honest John, and his posing and the detail on this piece is not less just because he's a lot smaller than Honest John himself. The way they really pose him is very expressive. Even the way they pose one of his arms, the way it kind of just flows, it really flows like one of those old-time cartoon animals. It's very stretch and squash, very reminiscent of the Mickey Mouse characters. And I don't know why, but this is the second time they give this sort of like overhanging sleeve. The first one was of course dopey. I guess they always kind of, back then, they kind of figure someone who's kind of dopey and mute would have this kind of like overhanging sleeves or something. But yeah, I just love the tiny little details that they put in there. And of course, you have the walking stick just peering out. And of course, the detail even underneath the cape right there, you can see he is part of his body. As you know, I suppose he doesn't have any inside garments for some reason. He only has sleeves, but that's it. Yeah, he doesn't have any clothes on for some reason. So I don't know how this sleeve even came to be. It's very, very weird the way they kind of designed the costume on this. Let me give you a bit of a turnaround right there. Yes, it's very expressive. Even you can see the kind of like the straights against the curves, which is a very important thing to note in when designing characters for animation. You can see the stretch right there for the arm, and then a bit of a squash when it touches the head. I mean, it's the whole effect is very, very mesmerizing, really, to look at. So there you have it. These have been my review for Honest John and Gideon. So I really hope you enjoy. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and leave more of your collection stories down in the comments. Have a good day. Bye.